Hey, good afternoon, everyone. For anyone who is not familiar with me, my name is Dr. Gabe Roberts, and I'm a chiropractor, a functional medicine doctor, and I specialize in what are called psychosomatic disorders, mind-body disorders. And one of the things I want to point out is our mind is just not limited to our physical body. Many times we are under that misunderstanding that our mind is just simply byproducts of brain activity. And mind is so much more than that. And in fact, it's been argued and theorized for thousands of years that mind is universal, that we're all part of a universal mind. And it has several different names and several different contexts from depending on where you're at, what your culture and what your religion kind of shares with you. But understanding that we are all connected to this mind gives us an ability to do something. What I mean by that is, we're all familiar with the activities that are going on in our country, these heinous acts that are happening in North Carolina. We know it's AI generated. We know this weather's not, natural weather. And where I live at in Northeast Oklahoma, the Ozark area, we ourselves have been subjected to a tremendous amount of synthetic weather this year. Oklahoma's been hit by 83 tornadoes this year alone. And many of these are not natural. People in the town of Claremore are even saying this is not natural. This lightning is just not natural. And what have I done for it? What have I done to protect my home? I've used effective prayer. Now, scientific prayer is another name for it. Just to clarify, when I say scientific prayer, I do mean to say it has nothing to do with Scientology. I just want to make that statement clear because they're nowhere near the same, okay? Nothing against them. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying don't assume that they're the same thing. Scientific prayer is completely different. Scientific prayer is validated. In fact, one of the ways that I'll share that with you is in the Journal of Conflict Resolution. It's been published that during the Israeli-Lebanese War in the 1980s, certain researchers worked with people that were trained to feel peace in their heart. That's scientifically praying for what you want as if it's already happened, as if it's already occurring, giving thanks for the event as if it's happening right now. And when these researchers were studying these people trained to feel peace in their heart, all the war-torn areas nearby, the conflict dropped, traffic accidents stopped, people stopped going to the emergency room for acute, traumas and things like that. So we know this stuff works. That's just a small glimpse of evidence. Other things that I can share with you that works is at least half a dozen times this year when a tornado or severe weather would be coming towards my home, I used the same method. Me, myself, using my heart, praying that everything was going to be fine, praying that thanks for my house being protected. Thank you for all my property being spared by these severe storms that have destroyed many other properties. And as a result of that, you can see on these pictures here what happened to the weather. It parted around my home. And it did this half a dozen times this year, at least 6 times this year. This way of praying was effective for having these storms part completely around my house. So what's my point to all this? When we look at the things going on, and part of us feel helpless, we are not helpless at all. We should bind together through this technology that we have. We should all sit down and, you don't have to. This is completely up to you. Feel free to make the decision for yourself whether you want to do this or not. But just it would be very helpful for us if we all decided in our heart to sit down at 6 p.m. today, Central Standard Time, at 6 p.m. and join me as I do an effective prayer for those people in Florida, as I do for the storms moving in towards Florida. I'm going to replicate what I did to my home, what's been replicated many other times, what's been replicated in my work, what's been replicated in that journal showing how people feeling peace in their heart made all the crime and the conflict and the war-torn areas, all the conflict ceased as people felt peace in their heart. So at 6 o'clock today, I would like you to join me live as I sit down and do the same thing for the area of Florida, for those storms that are moving in towards Florida area. And how we do this is we'll sit down together, all bonded together through the internet, and all feel peace in our heart as if the storm is past, as if our loved ones are protected, as if their property is spared by this. And that's a very powerful thing that we can do. Yes, we know it's AI generated. Yes, we know it's synthetic, but the power of our hearts has been taught to us, has been told us for centuries. There's a fly buzzing around my head. Has been told us to centuries, through everything from ancient scriptures, the Dead Sea Scrolls, through scripture in the Bible, that there's a powerful force inside of us, that when we bind it correctly and we bond together and we feel as if in our hearts, as our prayers already answered, the building blocks of the universe, the stuff the universe is made of, responds to that. And it won't take much. If we can get a small group of people together, we want as many as possible, but again, you're free to decide whether you want to participate in this or not. But I would absolutely feel grateful for anyone that wants to join me today as I go live on Facebook. Put your hand over your heart and feel as if our prayer is already answered. Give thanks for those storms to pass, those storms to deteriorate, those storms to completely go away from the people that right now don't need any more weather destruction. Okay? So today at 6 p.m. live, I would be very grateful if you would join me on this quest. Okay? We'll see you then.